Hi guys, welcome to our third section for week 2. We are going to jump right into the demos for your assignment and assessment, the wireframe and the mockup. We're going to start with the wireframe, which is what you should start with as well. It will help you with the mockup. So we're going to jump over to Muse. And the first thing you're going to see is a screen that looks very similar to what you see on my screen right now. It is just the dashboard for Muse. You're simply going to go over and click New. And get the spinning little rainbow wheel. Sometimes it takes Muse just a second. And then you're going to get the little pop-up box. I'm going to go ahead and click Advanced. Make sure this little drop-down box says Fluid Width. You are creating a responsive website, so it needs to be fluid. Max page width. 1280 is normally what I do for a desktop size. You guys, most of you have laptops, so it will be easier if your max size is set at 1074, which is your laptop screen. It will make it easier in the testing phase because setting it at 1280 is going to look a little weird when you test it in your browser until you make it responsive. So you can go ahead and start out at 1074. Your minimum width should be set to 320. Minimum height at 500 is perfectly fine. You can use the default settings for the margins. Make sure you have a check mark next to sticky footer. And then you're going to hit OK. And it's going to bring you right into the plan view. It automatically makes your home page. You're going to need to make the rest of the pages. So you have to have a home page, you have to have a portfolio page, and hit the plus sign again. You need an about page, and you have to have a contact page. Those are the minimum pages. If you have child pages, you simply hover over the page that has a child page and hit the plus sign on the bottom, and it will create that child page. We are going to start with the master page. The master page works in Muse very similar to the way the master pages work in InDesign. Anything that you put on the master page will automatically show up on every single page. So your header and your footer that is going to be identical on every single page goes on the master page. So that's what we're going to work on right now. I'm going to pull this down to about 200. My header area is a decent size on this website. And then, since we're making the wireframe, as we talked about yesterday, the wireframe is like a blueprint. You're just going to use basic shapes, squares and circles in the color of gray or black to show the structure of your website, where you're going to have graphics, where your logo is going to be located, that sort of thing. So I'm going to set up the structure of this website. Let me just make my screen a little bit bigger so we fit. There we go. I'm going to set the fill color by clicking the drop down and choosing this gray color. I'm going to make the gray a little less intense by turning down the opacity. And then I'm going to mark where my logo is going. My logo is pretty much a circular shape. I'm going to fill it with gray. And it's going to go about right there. This is a little too big, so I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit. Open up my alignment tools, align to content area, make sure it's perfectly centered. And my header and stuff are going to go about right there. And then I'm going to have a navigation bar over here on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my widgets panel, go to menus, go to vertical, go to horizontal. I want a horizontal menu. And I'm simply going to grab it and drag it up here to my header area. Close out my widget box and move this over and align it where I want it. It automatically gives me a navigation bar. I'm going to line this up so that my navigation bar matches my border area I have across there. So I'm going to have that. That's going to be my navigation bar. And I'm going to have a few social media icons at the top. So I'm going to grab my circle and make some social media icons across there. Spinning circle again. Come on. There we go. Like that. And then I have my footer area. It's going to have a colored bar across it. And I want it the same exact color as my light gray shade here. Oops. There we go. Realign that. And this is where my footer information is going to go. So this is what's going to be on every single page, and it's going to look exactly the same on every single page. So I'm going to close my master page. And now you see on the home page, it automatically put those graphics on each page, and then they're in the exact same location. So now I'm going to open up the home page, and I need to, I'm going to go ahead and extend my page a little bit. I need to put the elements on this page on how it's going to be set up. I am going to have a banner image across here, like this, and I'm going to fill it like that. And then down here, I'm going to have some text. It's going to talk a little bit about who I am, what this website is, and give some brief information on that sort of thing. So I think I'm going to leave the bottom area empty because I think there's just going to be text there for now. Some of you may have additional pictures you want to put down here, which is perfectly fine. I may actually do that. There's some icons I would like to add. So I'm going to put another picture here. And I think I'll put a picture over here, like this, and there'll be text between it. So this gives you the basic layout of my home page. So that's the wireframe for my home page, just basic shapes, your square tool, your frame, your rectangle frame tool, your circle tool, that sort of thing to make up your wireframe and give me a general idea of where you're going to have images and graphics and that sort of thing. So then we move on to the portfolio page. Again, I'm going to extend this page, make it a little longer. And on this page, I'm definitely going to have a slideshow because it's the portfolio page. So I'm going to go into my widgets, widget library. If it's not on the right-hand side of your screen, you can go to Windows and go to widget library. And I'm going to come over to the slideshows. And I'm just going to do a basic slideshow. I'll pull it out onto my screen like this. Center it up. my alignment tools. I'll quickly center it there. And I'm going to have a slideshow on this side of this, in the center of the screen. I have a little bit of text on either side, but I have a place for text under my slideshow here. So I will probably do it similar to this, except I think I want it to be bigger. So I'm going to click on these, oops, and move them down for a moment and click on my slideshow. And I want to make it bigger. Like that. So then I'm going to bring my text box back up here. And I don't think I want my counter. I'm going to delete my counter. And I'm going to pull my buttons up to the center of my slideshow. Like that. And stretch my text box all the way across the bottom. Like that. And this is going to be my slideshow. And I'm going to go down to my footer and add a little bit more white space there at the bottom. Like that. And so there's my portfolio page. So I'm going to close it out, and you're not going to fill in the images yet because that's next week. This is just a wireframe, black, white, and gray. And then we have my about page. I'm going to drag this down. Oops, wrong arrow. Drag this down a little bit. And there's going to be some text over here. And I'm going to have some sort of image on this side. I think I will probably do a circle image over here. Like this. I'm going to fill it with gray. And pull it up here. And then there will be an about box, like a bio. So that's the wireframe for my about page. It only has one image on it, and then it's going to have some text. And then we get into the contact page. Now, the contact page has quite a bit of stuff on it. You have to have a privacy policy. It has to have your phone number, your location. It has to have a contact form. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into my widgets library and go to the form section and expand it. And I want to do a simple contact form. I'm going to drag it out. It looks like this. And I want to make it a little bigger. It's a little too small for my liking. And click on each one of these because I need to move them down. And then this one, I need to bump it down like that. And then I'm going to extend this box to match what's above it, like that. This is going to be my contact form. Now I need my information over here. I am going to use a composition widget that opens and closes as I need it to. I think I will use, oh, actually, no, not the composition. I'm going to use the panels. I want an accordion panel that opens and closes like that. So I'm going to grab this widget and bring it out and set it up over here. I'm going to make it bigger like this. And then I'm going to have a graphic at the bottom of this page. Maybe two separate graphics. Oh, too much. So I'm going to go over here, grab my square tool. I'm going to make a square there and a square here. Oops, too much. There we go. And I'm gonna bump this over a little bit like that. Let's bring this out of here. There we go. Now view, fit page and window. This will be the setup of my contact form. I'm gonna have a phone number, a location, and my privacy policy in the accordion. So simple setup. So now if I go in and I do preview, this is where you can first test how your website looks. You always want to test in your browser as well, but for your wireframe, you can stick with the built-in previewer. I'm going to click on home. This is going to be my home page setup. And then I have my portfolio page, and then an about page, and then a contact page. Now, guys, do not use my wireframe for your website. Create your own. Come up with your own design. This was a very simple, very basic website setup. I just wanted to show you how to use the tools. The point of this class is you create your own website. Don't copy my layout. It's not that great. It's great at showing you how to use the tools. But as far as creativeness goes, it's pretty plain. It is just a basic standard website setup. Be creative. Your website is what will make you stand out. Once you've finished your wireframe, you're going to save it. File, save site as. Get the little spinny thing. Muse and Photoshop don't work great together when they're both open at the same time. Muse tends to hate it. And unfortunately, I had to have Photoshop open so I can go through the mockup with you guys. So it's taken my Muse a little bit to say, okay, I'll save. There we go, finally. What I would suggest you do, guys, is make a folder for your website. I'm going to go to my desktop. I have a folder made right there. So I'm going to save my website in there. I'm going to create a new folder first, and I'm simply going to name it website, my first name and last name. To create like that. And save as, I'm going to save it as my name because that is the website. Your instructions tell you to save it as GS241 wireframe, wireframe underscore your first and last name, like that, and save. And there it is. So there's our wireframe, and I'm going to be using that for my mock-up in Photoshop. It's going to follow the exact same plan because this is the blueprint. So now I'm basically going to go in and put my graphics where they need to be. So we're going to hop over to Photoshop. Go. There we go. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to New. You're going to get the dashboard pop up. And I am going to click on Web. This is a website. And over here, I'm going to pick my size. You need to make your artboard in Photoshop the exact same size as your artboard in Muse. I made my Muse file 1280 pixels wide. I'm going to go ahead and change this to 800 high because I had to link them most of my website pages. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to 800 high, and then I can use the crop tool in Photoshop to make it bigger or smaller as I need to. So hit create. And then I have artboards. We are going to be working with layer comps. So go to Windows and click on layer comps. And then dock it to the side of your toolbar there so that it's easily accessible. So we're going to be working a lot with layer comps. So on this first layer, I need to make my master page. I need to put in the logo and make the colored bar that was across the top and do the footer information. So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to first grab a guide. I set my heading at, if I remember right, 200. So I'm going to make my shape right across here, like that. I'm going to change the color to a light gray. That, and I'm going to open up my Creative Cloud because I believe the logo is in here now. There it is. There's the logo I'm going to use on my website that I'm doing for this demo. You will use your own logo or simply type your name at the top if you do not have a logo already. To place my logo right there, I want to make that a little bit bigger. Increase the size just a little bit like that. And I'm going to center it on that bar. Just like that. Now I have a navigation bar across the top, and I want to represent that in my mockup file. So I'm going to grab my type tool and make a navigation bar here. It should say, I need to change my text color to white. Home. Oops. Home. Portfolio. About. And contact. I'm going to spread these out a little bit more. My mouse tends to like to do what it wants in Photoshop. There we go. And I'm going to change the type, the font I'm using. And I'm going to move that type and center it on my line there so it looks good. And then I'm going to do my footer area. I have the exact same bar across the bottom. So I'm just going to duplicate that bar and drag it down here to the bottom like that. And grab my type tool again. Oops. Let's try that again. Grab my type tool again and do the copyright. For the copyright symbol, The shortcut is, whoops. Come on, Photoshop. The shortcut is Option G. So Option G, I get my copyright symbol, and I'm going to do DS241 2017. Now this is definitely not the text I want. I need to drag it over here and open my type tools, and it needs to be smaller, about 10 point. There's no reason for your copyright symbol to be big. Like that. And I think my text here is a little too big. I have it set at 24 point. I'm going to bump that back down to 18 point. That looks much better. So this is my master page. I have my social media icons. I've forgotten those. I'm going to open up my Creative Cloud. If you do not already have social media icons, there is a quick way to get them. If you go into, let me share my desktop here with you for a second. If you click on your Creative Cloud icon at the top and go into Assets, now let me show my Creative Cloud so you can see this closer up, because I know the desktop view makes everything kind of small. Okay, you go into your Creative Cloud app and click on Assets and click on Market and click the little search icon and type in social media. And if you scroll down, you're going to see all of your icons. And you can find every icon you need in here in just about every color you want. If you want to, let's say you want gray social media icon. Oops, sorry. Oh, maybe I need to take out icons. Come on, where are they? Black social media doesn't work. Maybe, how did I find those earlier? Media, social media icons. Black. It looks like you're just going to have to search through them to find the colored ones. You can go round. If you're looking for round social media icons, you can type in round social media icons and find all the ones that are circle shaped, which is what I will be using on my web design. And then you can download the ones you want to download. So I'm going to go through here and look at this, and I need a Facebook one. So I'm going to find my social media icon folder. You can create a library, or you can use, all of you have a default My Library, and you can just use that or make a new one. I'm going to click social media, and it's going to download it. I'm going to do the same thing to LinkedIn. So now when I go back to Photoshop and I go into my social media folder, you see I've got all kinds of icons in here already, and I already had the round one. So I'm going to click on that Facebook round icon, and I'm going to bring it out. put it on my artboard. I'm going to click on the LinkedIn one also. Go ahead and put a check mark there. Click on the LinkedIn and bring it out as well. I'm going to put them side by side. Oops, no, don't round. Line them up together. And then I'm going to hold my shift key down and select both of them and Command T to transform them. And I'm going to make them smaller together so that I make sure they're identical sizes like that. And hit my check mark. And then I'm going to move them where I want them. I'm going to separate them a little bit like that. And this is my master page. So now I'm going to go over to my layers panel here. I'm going to click on the top layer, which is the LinkedIn icon. And I'm going to hold my shift key down and click on the very bottom layer so it selects everything. And then I'm going to hit my folder icon. So it automatically puts everything into a folder. And I'm going to rename this folder Master Page. Now then, this is where the layer comps come in. I'm going to come up to my layer comps and I'm going to hit the new layer icon and I'm going to call it Master Page. And I'm going to make sure visibility, position, and appearance are all checked. I'm going to hit OK. So this is my master page in layer comps. Layer comps, you will realize why we're using layer comps after I do the next page. So now I have my master page built. I'm going to make a new layer that's outside of the folder because this is my home page. So I need an image that stretches across this page. I'm going to go into my Creative Cloud library because that's where I think I have most of my images stored that I want to use here. And go through these folders, see if I can find them. I think on the home page, I want to use, I think we'll use this image. I'm going to pull out the web design artwork there. This is going to be my banner across my home page. I'm going to shrink it down just a tad and center it there like that. And this is going to be the banner image. And then we're going to have two graphics on each side of this image. I'm going to go back in here. And I'm going to use the SEO graphic. Definitely has to be smaller, so I'm going to shrink it down to the size I need it to be. That, and you can see here, I need to make my page bigger. So I'm going to go up and grab my crop tool. Come on. And I want to make this page a little bit bigger like that. And I'm going to have to go into my master pages, go down to my rectangle on the bottom and pull it down. Really, I think the footer needs to be about right there. I'm going to go to my copyright layer and move it down. I'm just using my arrow keys to move it because it's in a group folder. So if I click on something, it's going to actually drag everything. So I just use my arrow keys by highlighting the layer and then using my arrow keys to move it down. And then I'm going to grab my crop tool one more time because now it's a little bit too long, and pull it back up there so it matches. Now I have some room to play with that graphic. So there's that one. Now I'm going to bring out my next graphic, which is going to be here, and make it smaller. Like that. And then I'm going to have text in the center of this. So I'm going to grab my type tool and make a text box across here. Type and paste Lorientum, which is fill text. And then I need to, it's definitely a little too big, so I'm going to highlight all that. I want it 12 point, and there, and it needs to be black. I'm going to have some fill text in here. Even that up a little bit, and there's the home page. I think my text looks a little bit too small there, so I'm going to make this 14 point. That looks better. I'll grab my type tool, look in that box, I'm going to make this box a little bit smaller. Like that. That looks better. And so there's my home page. So I'm going to go over to my layers panel once again, click on the top layer, which is that fill text I placed in there, and then hold my shift key down and click on the layer 2, which is the last layer for the stuff on the home page. It's the banner image that's across there. I'm going to hit the folder icon one more time, and I get another group. I'm going to rename that group home. So now I have my master pages and I have my home pages. I'm going to open layers comp, make a new layer. I'm going to call it home page. Make sure everything's checked and hit OK. Now then, if I go over to this little square next to master pages and I click it, it automatically turns the home page off and shows me what's just on the master page. Or I can click on home page and it'll show me everything. Now when I make the portfolio page, it will do the same thing. So that's next. I'm going to go back to my layers panel, make a layer, turn off the home page, the home group, because it doesn't need to be seen on the portfolio page. And I'm going to make my portfolio page here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a slideshow there. So I'm just going to put one image there to show the slideshow. You can put a square there if you choose to and make it black, which will identify the slideshow, or you can actually just put one image there that you're going to show in your slideshow. You can do it either way. I'll accept it either way. I'm going to go ahead and put an image there. And I am going to borrow an image. I think that's the little bitty image though, not the one I want. We'll see. Place, that's the bigger image, that works. Down here, I'll shrink this down a little bit so you can see the top of it. It's a little bigger. And I'm going to delete part of this picture because the top of it is way more than what I would actually want. So it's a smart object. I'm going to rasterize that real quick. Layer, rasterize, smart object. Now delete it. Here's the first image in my slideshow. And I had a text box here at the bottom. That type, fill it with text. No. Move it up a little closer, like that. And then I had buttons on each side. So do white. I'll do my little button here. And duplicate that layer. And put it right beside it over here. And select them both. And I want to align vertically. There we go. And they had basically what is a greater than and less than sign in each one of them. So this one went that direction. Too small. 24 point. Too small. 48 point. That's better. Do that one there. And then do the same over here. Move that around with my arrow keys and line it up. And there's my slideshow for that page. So I only have a few layers, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the first layer, scroll down and select the last layer right before my home page, hit the folder icon. This is my portfolio page. I'm going to go to my layer comps, make a new layer, and it's portfolio page. Hit OK. So now I have a portfolio page. I can click on the home page and see the home page, my master pages. Home page, portfolio page. So now I have my very last page, which is the contact page. So I'm going to make a new layer, pull up my contact page, turn off the portfolio page so I have a blank screen. And now put my contact page together. I'm going to simply draw my drop-down box that I'm supposed to have. One, I'm going to color it gray. Do I want it gray? I think I don't want it gray. I think I might want it blue. Right here, like that. Flip over and line it up, and this first one, I'm going to change my font here and make it 24 point, and the first one will say phone. White. There we go. White. Phone. change my fonts. And I'm going to bump it down where I want it. My phone, and then I'm going to take this rectangle and duplicate it and put it right underneath here, and I need to change its color. So I'm going to click back on the shape tool, and I want to change it to gray. And then I need my type tool again. Oops. And this time it's going to say location. And then I'm going to duplicate this again. Oops. And J. And pull it right underneath it. And this one is going to say privacy policy. And I think I misspelled it. Oops. Oh, no, I did pretty good. But now I need to add some definition around these. So I'm going to go back to this first one, grab my shape tool, and I want to make a gray line. Don't want it quite that thick. One. And then the next one, gray. Oh, not the right color, gray. Gray. And 1 point. And the last one, gray. And 1 point. And so now I have the definition of my accordion box. And then I had my contact form over here. So I'm going to grab my type tool, change my text to what I want it to be. It needs to be black now. And not so big. I think we will do a 14 point. I'm going to do name. Let's see. I'm going to zoom in here a bit. There we go. I'm going to do name here. And then my text box, underneath it, I'm going to use a light. I like gray. Like that. That's my input box. And I'm going to click on these two and duplicate it. I'm just going to grab it, drag it down underneath here like this. Grab my type tool, click on name, and change name to email. And then I'm going to duplicate it one more time. And J. Oops. Whoops. I got the rectangle duplicated and the email. There it is. And pull this down. That's email. Move that. Oh, I duplicated it from the wrong spot. Oops. Okay, let's do some fixing here real quick. I'm gonna pull this down out of the way. This goes here. This goes here. Title. And this is for phone. And then I have my message. That, grab my square tool, make my message box. There. A little too far away. Scoot it up a little bit. And then I have my button. My button was white with a dark gray stroke. That, and it said submit. So there is my contact form. I think it's a little too far apart here. Readjust this a little bit. And then I'm going to hold my shift key down and select all of this. Oh, why didn't it get selected? Come on. There we go. I'm going to shift it all up a little bit. Like that. And then we had a graphic over here. And I think I want to use this graphic here. I'll pull out this graphic and get smaller so it fits here. There we go. Do a check mark. And I have my contact page. So I'm going to go to my layers panel, just like we did before, and go click on the first layer, go down, click on the last layer before my portfolio folder, and then hit the folder icon and call it contact. Open my layers comp, make a new layer, and call it contact page. There's my contact page. Click on portfolio page, there's the portfolio page. Click on my home page, there's my home page. And then my master pages. Now I need to export this as a PDF to submit it. So you're gonna go to File. This is the great thing about layer comps. You're gonna go to File, you're gonna go down to Export, and you're gonna go down to Layer Comps to PDF. You're gonna select it. Active document has not been saved. Please save before exporting. Okay, so we'll go File, Save As. I'm gonna go into my DS241 folder and save it as Mockup. Hit Save. Okay, and then go back to File, Export, layer comps to PDF, and make sure there is no check mark next to selected layer comps only. Uncheck that because you want it to do every single layer comp, even the ones that aren't selected. And then hit run. Photoshop is going to flicker and get a little blurry while it's going through its thing. It's okay. Just hang with it. It'll tell you when it's done. Layer comps to PDF was successful. So I'm going to go into my Finder, go to my DS241 folder, and I'm going to open up the Mockup PDF. And then let's switch over so you guys can see it too. There, I'm going to choose no. I don't want it to take up the whole screen. And so here is my mockup, my master pages, and then my home page. And page 3 is my portfolio page. Page 4 is my contact page. Now you see all this white space at the bottom of it. You don't need to worry about that as long as you've indicated with either text or a bar that where your footer stops. When you export layer comps, it tends to export a really long page versus cutting it off the way it should. No big deal. I can still tell what your mockup is supposed to look like. So when you see that, don't panic. It's okay. It's normal. It's just the way it happens when you export as PDF. So once you've mocked up all your pages, you're going to save it, and you're going to submit this mockup as the assignment in the wireframe as the assessment. And next week, we will be taking all of our stuff from our mockup and making it web ready and placing it into Muse. Now, we've talked a little bit about responsiveness already, and I'm sure as all of you are aware, whether you know it or not, responsiveness is when you can see a website on your tablet or your cell phone and you don't have to use your fingers to zoom in to read the text. Everything resizes and shapes to that screen, and although the website layout may look different, you can still see everything that you're supposed to be seeing. And there's no frustration there. So today I wanted to do a little tutorial about making your own responsive menu if you want to go that direction. I'm sure a lot of you have been seeing the new navigation bars or have noticed them. There's not a regular navigation at the top. You've been seeing a lot of hamburger icons. So I'm going to take this off. That hamburger icon is the little square. Like that, and they're gray. The color of the website, they usually match. That's not the right color gray. We go, and they have the 3 little lines inside them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to zoom into this for a second, because as you notice, Muse doesn't exactly have a line tool. So you can use the rectangle to make those little lines. Go like this. And I'm going to fill it with white. And I'm going to round the edge, the corners. Like that. And I'm going to do 3 of them. And paste. And I'm going to line them up here. And then resize my square so everything fits nicely. Like that. I'm going to select it all. And group it. Object, group. And zoom back out. Now we have my little hamburger icon, and it will fit right up here on my navigation bar, right? But first, we have to make the responsive menu. There is a simple trick in Muse to make a responsive menu so that it will pop out when somebody hits that hamburger icon. Now, you can download a plugin that's a little more creative, and I will show you that plugin in just a little bit, but I'm going to show you how to create the basic responsive menu. You're going to go to your widgets panel. You're going to go to your compositions. Go to your blank composition and pull it out to your artboard like this. Refit it where you need it. Move my footer down here. And then I'm going to click on this little square here and delete it. Click on this little square here, delete it. Click on this little square, right click and do clear all styling. I'm going to move this little square up out of the way here. And I'm going to click this one and clear widget content. Clear all styling. It's empty, it's blank. This is the trigger. Click the little drop down, position stacked, show target, on click, on rollover, however you want to set it. I'm going to do on click, hide target, on click, fading is fine. I want it to be closed at first. Close button. So I'm going to do close button there. Actually, no, I don't want close button. Trigger on top needs to be set. I'm going to grab this and drag it. Oops. Grab this and drag it right on top of my shape here. I didn't get my shape in it. I'm going to select my shape, see it there, drop it inside my trigger, right there. Click on the white box, and I want it to be closed. Trigger on top. Yeah, no, I'm going to do hide all initially, like that. And then I'm going to go to my menus. And I'm going to grab a vertical menu bar and drag it into this little box. I'm going to drop it right there in the corner. It shows all my pages. And then I'm going to resize this box so it's the size of my menu bar, like that. Grab it. So let's see, trigger on type, hide all initially. Grab it, pull it right up here, and oops, I'm going to set this menu bar. I'm going to put my hamburger icon over here on the side, right there, like that. Preview. All you see is the little hamburger icon. You've been seeing those on a lot of websites lately. If the user clicks it, they get their menu, but something's wrong with that. We need to move our menu where it should be. So I'm going to go back to my master pages. Click on that box. I'm going to drag it down and place it right there. So now if I go to preview, it clicks and it opens up that menu bar. I can click what page I want to, and it'll take me there. Takes me to the home page. Click that drop down and look at that. Something's wrong. We need to go back and check this. Autoplay, shuffle, previous, close button, show all in design mode, hide all initially, the trigger on top. That is correct. We need to make sure it is on top of everything. So I'm going to go to my layers panel. I'm going to make a new layer. And go down, there's my composition. I'm going to drag it up to layer 2. Come on. There we go. Drag it up to layer 2 and lock it. View. On page, I may have to do some reshuffle. No, that did it. And that pulls it on top of everything. So if it's clicked, it's on the very top. And you can see it. So go to my portfolio page, my about page, my contact page. And it will automatically pop up on top of everything. So that when you're making your site responsive, it's really easy because you have this one little square to just simply bump over or move around to a different location when you reset up your website for each size. Making it responsive is very simple in Muse. So we'll have a lot of fun with that in week 4. So that's a simple make it yourself navigation bar, and they can click on it. If they click on it again, it'll close. Now there is a third-party widget you can download, and you guys should be thinking about that. There are a lot of third-party widgets, and we will get into more of looking at those next week for you to add simple stuff, but I want to show you the third-party widget you can download for your responsive tool menu. To my libraries, responsive hamburger. This is the responsive widget for the hamburger icon. You have to build it the exact same way I just showed you making a manual responsive. It's only the button. The difference is you can do a lot of different things with this button that you can't with the regular button. You can change the container formatting, the size formatting, the transition settings. Right now it's set to 3DX. What does that mean? If we preview it, we roll over it, you see it fades out. There's a little more action to it, and it develops an X for the user to click on to close it. And there's all kinds of transitions in there. There's a whole drop down full of them. Collapse, arrows, elastic, slider, spring. So it's just a little more animation than what you have with just making a simple manual one. So if you want to add the extra interactivity, you can use the third-party widget. It's built the exact same way. You can change the color inside the little toolbox. If you click the blue circle, the little toolbox opens, and you can change the container color. Like that. And then you do basically the exact same thing I just showed you. You're going to go into your widgets. You're going to pull out the blank white box. You're going to delete all the triggers except for one. You're going to pull it up, clear the styling, grab your button, drag it over, and drop it inside that trigger. And then you're going to clear the widget content. Oops. You're going to clear the styling on the big box. Go to your menu panel and pull out your widget. Drop it in the top left-hand corner. Resize that widget box. And then move it where you want it to appear when they click the button, like that. And then move your widget where you want it. So then when you preview, you can really see the difference. You have your manual one that we built, and then you have the third party that has a little more animation to it. But it does basically the same thing. You need to move it on top, so we have to do that whole layer panel thing like we did before. Lock layer 2, there's my composition. Pull it up. Now it's where it's supposed to be. And I want to hide all initially and trigger on top. Preview. And it'll open and close the way you want it to. Looks like you have to set that too. It's not automatically picking up the close. So hide target on click. Go. There we go. Click home. Now everything's on top where it should be. That just adds a little more interactivity to it if you want to do something like that. You will also be able to make your site plenty responsive using the traditional menu bar. Your site will still be plenty responsive using the traditional bar if that's the way you want to go. It's just becoming more and more common to see that hamburger icon. So I thought I would include that in today's session so that you could get a head start on making the things that you need to make. Any questions, guys? Yes, yes. We will talk about more of those widgets, third-party widgets. We can go ahead and take a look at that if you want. That's perfectly fine. It may give you guys some inspiration. Hi guys, welcome to. Okay, and what you're going to do is, let me pull up my Chrome here so I can share my screen with you. To Chrome, I'm simply going to go to Google and do a nice little search that says Adobe Muse widgets. And of course you want free. Free is always good, right? So I'm going to click on the free Adobe Muse widget link. And this is going to bring you to the Adobe Muse official widget page. And it's going to show you all the different widgets you can download. This is one that a lot of you will want. This disables right click. Right click will keep somebody from copying an image off your page. You can download that widget. It's free. And put it on your portfolio page so that they can't download any graphics or things you're showing in your portfolio. If you wanted them to be able to print a page, you could do the print page button. There is going to be things for full screen video, your gallery. Some of them say trial version, but you can find plenty that are complete and not a trial version. You have the snow effect. Usually every season, Adobe puts out a seasonal widget. And let's preview this one. In the fall, it can be leaves. In the winter, it's snow. The background picture isn't included. It's just a simple snow effect where it looks like it's snowing. And then you have your Google Analytics selfie product preview widget, animated hamburger widget. That's the widget I showed you. Background video, a Facebook page widget. This one's new. I haven't seen it yet, so let's take a look at it. It's the Facebook page widget. It gives you a glimpse, basically a cell phone preview of your Facebook page. That could be pretty cool on your website. There is a built-in widget in Muse already for Facebook, but I can tell you that it does not work perfectly. So trying one of the third-party Facebook widgets might be a good idea. I will probably actually do that. If you want the widget, you simply click this widget. And it's going to give you download, install. Click it, download now. Download now. Facebook widget. Please provide an email address where you would like to send the download link. A lot of them are like this. So you can simply give them your email address and they will send you a link that will allow you to download the widget. So while we're waiting on that, let's see what else we have. Social share, YouTube subscriber button, a zoom transition widget, which will allow them to zoom into different things, music player, news, movable content, particle spiral. Let's see what this is. And it has some little bit of animation. That's pretty cool. That could come in handy in certain cases. And you have the before and after slider. Those of you that are doing a Photoshop page of your portfolio, this will come in very handy. It is a great widget. I've used it several times. It is a before and after slider. And what will happen is you choose the first image, you choose the second image, and it will place them together the way they're supposed to be, half and half. And when the user slides the slider, he can see the complete old picture and then the complete new picture that you redid. So it's a before and after slider. It is a very good widget. I've used it several times. You have your blogging widgets. The book widgets are quite common now. They're for pulling in book reviews and things like that. You guys probably won't use them. The Go Squared, they have a new widget for Go Squared. I have quite a few customers that use the Go Square credit card app for taking credit card payments. And now they turned it into where you can use it as an e-commerce plugin. So you can plug in different prices and things like that. Let's see the widget. So it gives you all the analytics. This isn't the actual e-commerce one. There is an e-commerce one though. Let's see if I can find it. There's your master pages, non-local SEO, products, sitemap uploader, social links. I believe this is a bunch of icons. Let's preview it and see. This widget will tell Google which social profiles belong to your business. So it's a helpful thing about automatically doing it, it looks like. I'm kind of doubtful on how well that actually works. Google is very smart, but I still prefer to program my own social media icons. And there's some more galleries. The page flip widget is really neat. I've used it several times as well. And I click the little triangle, it flips the page. And so it's a different type of slideshow. They have the page flip and the playing cards. When they click the button. So it adds basically some more action than you're going to get with the basic, slideshow widget that's already built into Muse. This just adds some extras, makes it a little more interactive, a little more interesting. So these third-party widgets can be really cool. And if you want to download them and use them, you are more than welcome to. The Z-Scale widget. When they click the button, it basically is like an animation where the picture zooms out. And if you want to put the current date and time on your site up in the header, you could use that widget to do it. Search and replace. Now this widget will fill in search and replace fields. Widget will scan current content, current page text, and replace any occurrence from your search field. Leave a replace field empty to just delete string. You can use it multiple times to search and replace more strings. This widget will not work for iframe content like Google Maps or Facebook embedded widgets. This widget was developed to make it easier to edit one of your web pages. Like if you figure out you misspelled the company's name, you could pull that widget in, plug it in, and type in the misspelled company's name and the replacement, and it will do it on the entire site. Things like that do come in handy, especially when you have extensive sites. Mobile menus. Let's take a look at mobile menus. This is another hamburger responsive menu bar. It does just like you see here. Then you have the e-commerce, you have another e-commerce widget, the hover animation effect. If you plan on doing like a gallery slideshow, this hover animation is great because it adds some interactivity instead of your page just looking flat with pictures on it. When they hover over things, it will do different stuff, and you can tell it, there will be a little blue circle so you can click it and tell it what to do to each picture. So it will add some more interactivity, some more interest. It's better than just having images on your page in a flat grid pattern. Download this widget and use it to add some interest in interactivity. And the Muse Password Protect, if you're doing a page that needs to only be accessed by certain people, you would use something like that on each page. The cool countdown, I haven't seen this one before. A cool Muse widget for counting down to a date. Okay, it's about time they came out with one of those. So as you see on especially book websites, when there's a new book coming out or a new movie coming out, they're usually a countdown timer. That's what this is. And it looks like it's a circle. So that's pretty cool. It's about time they came out with one of those. Accordion style flags for your Muse site. Oh, interesting. So it's like drop down boxes. Okay, that could come in handy. File embed graph hit counter. If you want to see how many people are visiting your page, you can put the hit counter in your footer. That way you can go to your website and tell how many people have been on your page. And there's maps, pop-ups, price tables, tabs, weather. If you wanted to put your local weather on your website, you could use that. There's another countdown widget, some more e-commerce stuff, comments. This one can be very interesting. This can be a very interesting widget as well. It looks like, let's see, it looks like it will allow people to comment on your page, and kind of like what you see on the Yahoo News pages or Fox News pages, where the users are able to comment about the story. You can do things like that with this music, this widget. Full page navigation, a hover frame, a side button, some shapes. There are all kinds of stuff in here, guys, that you can use on your site just to tweak it, make it more of what you want. So I do suggest you go through the third-party widget and look and see what you could use to make your site more interesting. You've got all kinds of hover if you wanted to add a special hover over things. The Insta Zoom is a great widget for galleries too. If you didn't like the other widget that does interesting things, you can use the Insta Zoom. Let's look at samples. This is like a gallery page, and you see when you hover over it, you get the magnifying glass. So if you click on it, it enlarges the image. Now, your gallery slideshow lightbox will do the same thing as this right here, but it doesn't actually give them the icon. That's the difference in this widget and the one that's built into Muse already. And then you have the Shopify widget, which is an e-commerce site. Some more Facebook type stuff, and another right-click disabler. Mobile drop-down widget, which is going to be another hamburger icon, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually seen this one and what it actually does. An Adobe Muse widget that gives you the ability to create a drop-down menu for phone and tablet layouts. I think it's the exact same thing as what we used before, but it looks a little more complicated. And then we have the anchor scroll, that's fine. The mouse cursor. This widget allows you to change the appearance of the mouse cursor in your Muse site. You will be able to add two images, one for the cursor in normal state and one for the cursor in rollover state. So you see, but you have to create these graphics that you change the mouse into. So if you want to do something like that, that can be cool and it can be interesting, but you're going to have to design the icon that you want that cursor to change into. And then we have the Tumblr button, that's new. Disable, right click, again, full screen video background. Custom highlights, custom preloaders, flat outline button set. You're going to find all kinds of stuff in here, guys. It just kind of goes on and on and on. But check out the first couple of pages. That's generally where the most popular ones are. and the ones you can be assured work the best, they're usually on the first couple of pages. They have this folio widget. Let's preview it so I can show you what it looks like. With the demo. Oops, I think I clicked on the wrong button. I want the live demo. Come on. There it goes. It will change. Let's see if I can find, it's not on here. I wish it was on the first page. It does different stuff, but it's more like a slideshow. I wish the live demo would work. It doesn't look like it's working. It's not great. I have used it on a website before, but it's pretty simple, pretty basic, but it can add something new and interesting. You have the photo list. I've used this one before too. And this one comes from Muse as well. It looks like this. It is a basic slideshow, except for it does a list of the different items. And when they click on it, it goes to that item. Like that. The pop menu. It pops up like this. So this could be another responsive menu bar. This would be pretty neat, and it would be different. That's pretty cool. And as you can see, it just kind of goes on, and there's all kinds of neat stuff. But in the first couple of pages is where you find the really good stuff. So I encourage you to look through those and see what you find, see what you come up with. Because I think you will be surprised. Now, I know this week it seems like you have a lot to do. So what we are going to do is tomorrow, we're going to have a multi-session. I'm going to send out an email reminder in just a few minutes so that if you have questions or you need help after watching today's lecture, you can come in tomorrow and get that help. Because I know it seems like a lot and you really have to get into creating, and creating for yourself is difficult. I absolutely understand that. Come in, get some help from me. Let's talk it through until you get an idea. I know it can be hard, so don't get stressed out. Come to me, let me know what's going on so we can talk it through, and you can get on with getting your website designed and it being awesome. All right, guys, I will see those of you that can make it tomorrow. We will look at, if nobody shows up, I will do another demo on using some of the other widgets and the different things you can do to help give you guys some creative ideas.